Om. 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 Sairam, just to recollect what we were discussing last week, uh, Swami is talking about how the mind should be used while chanting Omkara. He says that we should chant it mentally, Om, as well as visualize Om. That's the advice. And Krishna, Arjuna says it is a very difficult process. And then Swami goes on to say, Krishna says that through practice it can be achieved. And he gives examples of how animals also take part in the warfare. And human beings also, things which cannot normally do, they through practice develop the skills to do that. So that's where we were. So I will stop here and I will ask Sister Kalyani to continue from where we left off.
Again, Arjuna felt a doubt arising in him. If the senses are bound, how can the Om be pronounced? Krishna understood this. He took up the matter himself. Arjuna, Om has to be pronounced in the mind, not through the mouth as a sensory organ. Next, Arjuna raised another question to relieve himself of another doubt. He said, Japato nasti patakam. He who does japam has no sin. But if japam cures one from sin, what happens to liberation, moksha? If evidently japam is powerless to bring that about. Japam will not enable one to concretize the Lord. The Lord was happy when Arjuna mentioned this doubt. Partha, your question is important, but please let me tell you, moksha need not be sought after separately, apart from other objectives. If Om is recited and the significance of the Om, that is to say, the Lord, is meditated upon, then the Lord is attained by you. In other words, you are liberated. Arjuna insisted on this point. He asked, Lord, is it ever possible for japam to bring about both results? Of course, it is easy for you to declare so, but trouble starts when we follow the path of japa and dhyana. Krishna replied, it is just for this purpose that I mentioned at the very start about abhyasa yoga, the value of practice or abhyasa. Practice, steady practice, will ensure you both results from freedom from sin and liberation. Probably you do not realize the importance of practice. O foolish Arjuna, do you not see here how practice makes an animal execute difficult tasks? Look at these horses yoked to the chariot, these elephants ranged on the field. They render the assistance in battle, which even man, with the superior equipment of reason, cannot give. Consider how this was made possible. Where have elephants dwelling in the forest observed the tactics of battle? Or do you hold that fighting in the battlefield is their nature? No. Their present skill is proof of the value of practice, abhyasa.
Thank you, Kalyani. So I will pause here and I will open it up for discussion. Anyone who would like to share anything, any point, please go ahead, Saira. So if everyone is okay, then maybe we'll proceed to the next slide.
Similarly, practice the withdrawal of the mind from the senses steadily. Then it will develop skills which will release you from bondage. Let me tell you, those who repeat with their last breath, the sacred pranava, do attain the Lord. Krishna said this with emphasis. Arjuna made bold to put another query. Lord, it is good that those who repeat the pranava with their last breath attain the Lord. But what about those who do not? Their number is certainly much larger. Have they no chance of release? In the court of the Almighty, are only some to be honored with seats? Have the miserable and the poor no accommodation at all? Tell me where they go, where they will be admitted. Arjuna, you are falling into a great error. Beware. The Lord does not discriminate between the weak and the strong, or the high and the low. Such an attitude will never warp his vision. All are entitled to his grace. All are entitled to enter his darbar, convocation hall. Its doors are ever open. No guards are there to bar the entrance of anyone. No one is prevented. No one is invited. All are welcome to enter. What can anyone do if some do not approach the door? Those who desire warmth have to go near to the fireside and sit there. Those who stand afar can know only the light that emerges from the fireside. What do you say of that man who, standing afar, declares that the fire has no warmth? He certainly is not sane.
Thank you, Kalyani. So I think it's pretty clear. There's nothing for me to add to this. I don't know whether you want. Maybe we should read the Telugu, I think, once, if it's okay, and then.
Okay. Similarly, practice with the trial. I will start that. Sairam.
Sairam.
అటులనే మనస్సును ఇంద్రియముల నుండి ఉపసంహరించు అభ్యాసమును చాలా కాలము పాటించిన దానికి అట్టి శక్తి సామర్థ్యములు అలబడును.
In the same way, in the same manner, one who withdraws the mind and practices this, and they will be able to attain this.
Yeah, correct. ఓంకారోచ్చార పూర్వకంగా పరమాత్మను స్మరిస్తూ ప్రాణమును వదలి పట్టినవాడు తప్పక భగవంతుని పొందుచున్నాడు.
One who chants Om at the end of life, without fail, that person will attain the Lord.
అని కృష్ణుడు గట్టిగా తెలిపిన. Hello?
Sorry, Auntie. Just the first sentence. You said, in the same manner, one who withdraws the mind and practices this, they will be able to attain this. Like, what is the part about Shakti and Samarthya?
If you practice that, drawing the mind from the senses, if you practice, go on practicing, the mind gets its skills. The mind is able to withdraw itself from the senses. This practice is most important here.
Okay, so that part where it says Chala Kalamu, what is that?
Chala Kalam, for a long time.
If they practice for a long time?
Yeah, yes. They'll get that Shakti Samarthyam. They'll get that skill.
Shakti Samarthyam means?
Samarthyam, the ability.
Okay.
Ability to withdraw the mind.
And Shakti is the strength also. Yeah. Strength and ability, I think.
Okay, because in the English, it was saying that you will get the skills which will release you from bondage.
No, it's not here. It is not. You will get that ability to withdraw your mind from the senses if you practice for a long time.
Oh, okay. So if you practice withdrawing the senses for a long time, you will get the ability and strength to withdraw the senses?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Is it okay, Arun?
Yeah, I think so, Auntie. I think it's also be able to chant the Om at the end of life. I think, I think that was Arjuna's question. It may not be possible. That was what he said. And so he says, if you practice, you'll get that ability.
Okay.
ఓంకారోచ్చార పూర్వకంగా పరమాత్మను స్మరిస్తూ ప్రాణమును వదలిపెట్టిన వాడు తప్పక భగవంతుని పొందుచున్నాడని కృష్ణుడు గట్టిగా తెలిపినాడు.
So emphatically Krishna stated that one who chants Omkara, and Purvakanga means, I don't know, auntie, earlier.
ఓంకారోచ్చార పూర్వకంగా పరమాత్మను
Is it through the Omkara Ucharana?
Yeah, పూర్వకంగా ఓంకారోచ్చార పూర్వకంగా.
Through the process of Omkara.
Through.
He will remember the Lord, Paramatmanu smaristu. He will thinking of the Lord. If he leaves the breath, if he dies, he will without fail attain the Lord.
When we say manapurvakanga, we say that manapurvakanga చేస్తున్నాను.
I see.
Yeah, that's how it comes, I think.
Okay, with the bottom of our heart or whatever we say.
Yeah, correct. అందులకు పార్థుడు సాహసించి, స్వామి, అట్టి పవిత్ర పడవోచ్చారము అంత్యమందు స్మరించు వారికే భగవంతుడు ప్రాప్తించిన మిగిలిన వారి గతి ఏమైపోను?
He's asking, if that is so, if such people attain you, what about the lot of all the others?
So only those who say the pranavocharana at the end of their lives, only then they will be liberated. Then what about others who don't do that? He's asking that question. వారి సంఖ్యయే అధికము కదా.
Isn't their number the greater?
Those who don't do that. వారికి ఇంకా విమోచనమే లేదా?
Don't they have any form of
liberation,
escape from this problem?
భగవత్ సన్నిధిలో అట్టి పవిత్రులకే స్థానమైన దీనులకు చోటే లేదన్నమాట.
See, again, auntie, just
భగవత్ సన్నిధిలో అట్టి పవిత్రులకే స్థానం. Only for those pure people there is room for such people. But what about others?
Yeah.
వారికి ఇంకా విమోచనమే లేదా? దీనులకు చోటే లేదన్నమాట. దీనులు he calls Swami.
People are weak, so there is no place for them.
పోనీ వారికి చోటెక్కడో ప్రవేశం ఎక్కడో తెలుపుడు అన్నాడు.
Oh, so tell me, where will they go? Which place is reserved for them? Tell.
అర్జున, పొరబడుతున్నావు. You are in a hurry. భగవంతునకు దీనులు ధీరులు అను వ్యత్యాసము కానీ, అధికులు అల్పలు అని తారతమ్యము కానీ ఏనాటికి లేదు.
So for God, there is no distinction between people who are strong or people who are weak, people who have power, people who are small in their stature. There is no such difference for the Lord.
రాదు, భగవద్ అనుగ్రహమునకు అందరూ అర్హులే.
At no point will he have that. Inarticulated. Radhu means it will not even come. For God's grace, everyone is deserving.
Eligible. అతని దర్బారులోనికి అందరికీ ప్రవేశం ఉన్నది.
In his court, everyone has the right to enter.
దాని ద్వారములు ఎప్పుడూ తెరవబడి ఉండును.
The doors for that court, the Lord's court, is always open.
కావలవారు అసలే లేదు. కాపలవారు అసలే లేదు.
There is no security. కాపలవారు.
Guard, కాపలవారు.
So there is no security there.
There the gate. వచ్చు వారిని అడ్డు పెట్టుట లేదు.
They will not push people aside who come there.
రాను అని వారిని ఆహ్వానించుట లేదు.
But they do not even invite people who say that they will not come.
Yeah, who don't want to come. ద్వారమున ప్రవేశించే ప్రతి వారికి స్వాగతమే.
Anyone who enters is welcomed.
కానీ ద్వారము చెంతకు రాని వారిని ఎవరేమి చేయగలరు?
So, what can anyone do for the people who do not come to that entrance?
Near the entrance. నిప్పు వేడి కావాలనన్నా వారు నిప్పుకు సమీపమునకు వెళ్ళి కూర్చున్న వేడిని అనుభవించవచ్చును.
If anyone wants the warmth from fire, they should go near fire and sit down.
దూరమునున్న వారికి వెలుతురు మాత్రమే తెలియను.
People who stand far, they will only see the light.
వేడి తెలియదు.
They will not experience the heat.
అంత మాత్రమున నిప్పుకు వేడి లేదని తలంచుట ఎంత వెర్రితనము.
How foolish it is to think that the fire does not have heat.
అటులనే భగవంతుని సన్నిధి కావాలననియో అనుభవించవలననియో ప్రవేశము కావాలననియో ఎవరు ఆరాటపడి నిరంతరము చింతింతురో అట్టి వారందరికీ అచట చోటు కలదు.
So whoever without fail who want to reach the presence of the Lord, they seek the presence of the Lord, they have to experience it. They want to enter, they want entrance. If such people so they make I don't know, lots, they yearn for it always, and they will
constantly
for all of them there's a place in the court of the Lord.
Constantly think about the Lord. For some there is always place for them. అందరికీ అంత్య సమయమున ప్రణవోచ్చారణ మానసికముగా చేయుట సాధ్యము కాదు.
For everyone it is not possible for them to chant Om through their mind at the end of their life.
అందుకనే నిరంతరము నిర్మల చిత్తముతో స్మరించిన అట్టి వారి యోగక్షేమలను తప్పక చూచుకొందును.
So because of that, whoever chants incessantly with pure heart, such people's yoga and shema, the welfare and
I take care of them. Tappaka chuchukondunu.
He will take care of the welfare without fail.
I think she has not read these 3 sentences, last sentences.
I think in English, no? Because English, it's all.
Go ahead.
Because
Kalyani, if you want to read those, anything is left in that chapter?
Yeah. All who yearn for the presence, all who desire to enter the darbar of the Lord, and who strive in their mind constantly for the fruition of that desire, all have admission and accommodation there. It is not everyone that can repeat the pranava at the last moment. That is the reason why constant remembrance of the Lord is said to have the power of inducing the Lord to bear the burden of your yoga kshema, happiness here and hereafter. Of course, this too has to be practiced long. Sadhana gains everything. Sadhana, steady and strong.
Yeah. Those 3 lines I will just read. అందరికీ అంత్య సమయమున ప్రణవోచ్చారణము మానసికముగా చేయుట సాధ్యము కాదు.
It's not possible for everyone to chant the pranava mentally.
అందుకనే నిరంతరము నిర్మల చిత్తముతో స్మరించిన.
So because of that, if they with pure heart, if they incessantly remember,
అట్టి వారి యోగక్షేమములను తప్పక చూచుకొందును.
The Lord will look after their welfare and good.
దానికి కూడాను అభ్యాసం అవసరము.
For that also practice is needed.
సాధన వలనే సర్వము సమకూరును.
Only through sadhana everything is obtained.
దేనికి కానీ సాధనాభ్యాసములు ప్రధానము.
For anything, practice is essential.
అనన్య చింతనను చేరుటకు ఆధారము.
So with thinking without any other thought is the basis for this.
Is best for me to reach me. అని భగవంతుడు ఉపదేశించెను. That's it.
The Lord taught us.
Yeah. I think you can go to the previous this thing page, and then if they have any questions, they can ask.
Yes, sir.
It's okay. Why Swami calls people deenulu?
I think people who are unable to do, I think Auntie Swami is thinking they are weak.
It's not miserable or poor. That's not the correct word. Deenulu.
I think that also may be something,
Deenulu is translated here as miserable.
I don't know. Whether that's a good translation.
When we say Dino Dharana Sai Hare,
Yes, Auntie.
Dino Uddhar,
One who
uplift those who are
weak.
downtrodden.
Yes, downtrodden.
Downtrodden. Deenulu here.
Regarding the first paragraph where Swami is talking about the withdrawal of the mind from the senses, and I think last time we talked a lot about that as well, about like withdrawing your senses, like the turtle or tortoise. I just came across this quote from Swami in Sathya Sai Speaks. Like I put it in the chat. So, wherever your eye turns, whatever your ears hear, your fingers touch, your tongue tastes, and your nose smells, whatever has form, sound, touch, taste, and smell, take that also to be God-filled. Do not allow the mere sound and the mere taste, etc., to captivate your senses. See the divine in each, welcome and accept only that. So I don't know, it just seems to me like those are two different ways of looking at it. So I know on one hand, we do want to control our senses, but on the other hand, Swami saying whatever we do experience with our senses, take that to be as God-filled as well. So is it just kind of like a balancing act of like how much we withdraw versus how much we experience and see everything as God?
So you are asking, so I think your question is if sense control Swami has spoken about, but now he is telling that we should treat that as also a sadhana. So you're asking how to reconcile both.
Yes, yeah. So I think the one instruction, like in the Geetha Vahini that we've been reading, like I feel like on the one hand that the instruction is to really control the senses, like do not use the senses for anything that's not necessary at all. Like be very, very strict about how you use your eyes, ears, everything. Whereas on the other hand, this instruction, like that from the Sathya Sai Speaks, it seems a little bit more like you maybe don't have to be so strict, but you can still just whatever you experience, you can take that as God.
See, from what I understand, Kalyani, Krishna and Swami give multiple options for people. Like if you look at Bhakti Yoga, he will give some advice, and if he says, if that is not possible, do this. If this is not possible, do this. Like that, he goes on to say, actually he's given about 5-6. So then people can ask, which one should we do? So the reality is, if you're unable to do something, then you do the next best. Unable to do, then you do the next best. So I don't think that's a contradiction. He has already set out what is the highest. Because this is essential, because that way everyone takes sannyasa, so that you are not in the world. You don't. So I think that's ultimately the place we have to get to. But until such time, Swami will say, offer it as a prayer. So I think, but that we should not be complacent with that, I think is my understanding. But I will stop here. Anyone else would like to share any thought, please do.
In the previous paragraph, Swami was saying, Sanyama Nigraha. That we have to understand. Are we following total Nigraha? Swami never said that. You are not going to deny all pleasures. But put a ceiling on desires. Swami has given that tool for us, all of us. Ceiling on desires. That can be, I think, can be practiced by everyone. So whatever food that we are getting through the senses, that can be, put a ceiling there, put a limit there. Swami has given that tool for us. Sai Ram.
Yeah, in the previous paragraph, it was said that the limbs or the senses is to control only. Not to, is control of the senses only. That limbs, the senses has to do whatever it was really meant for. So you got to use it for that purpose. It was covered in the first paragraph as it's a controlling only, not totally. It has to do with why that senses or limbs have been given to you. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, sister.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram, this is Saku Auntie. Baba has been taking us from kindergarten up to the degree class. Now we are at the time of our death and liberation of our soul. He has brought us to the highest level. So for that, he is telling us that we have to have, we should have worked steadily for a longer period, controlling our senses and then controlling our mind and controlling everything and focusing constantly on God, on Krishna. He says, on me. They will come to me without faith. So he has brought us from the small step to the highest elevation. So that is why. Sorry, it is not Baba is confusing anybody. It is the way he has brought us to the higher level now. We are at the time of liberating our soul. He has brought to that level. Thank you, Saira.
Saira Mati.
Yes. Yeah, Sairamana. So I was just adding to the points that were raised. Actually, if we know that if it's a baby, first how the baby is weaned away from the mother's milk, and then it is given some soft food to eat, and then it can start finally eating the kind of food that any of us have. So that is one example I have on one end. Another is about the sapling that we all know that initially it needs that fence within which the sapling needs to be protected in its growth so that none of the animals come and eat it away. And then later on, when that sapling becomes the huge tree, then the very same animals that could have harmed the sapling back then can now come and take shelter under the huge branches of that tree. So looking at it in the same way, even as we get into our sadhana or any of the activities for the sapling or for that baby, that kind of, we have to be guarded in the approach. So the sense control, anything that is taking the mind through the senses into the world, we need to keep regulating. We need to have that kind of a fence in place. And then when it comes to a level where the mind has matured to seeing anything and everything as only the play of the God, then at that point in time, as Sister Kalyani was mentioning in that quote, it doesn't matter what it is, because whatever is seen, whatever is felt, whatever is experienced is nothing and nothing but God alone. So I'm just trying to put it in terms of that kind of a transition that we have from the what Saku Aunty was mentioning, the primary schooling all the way up to maybe the university level. At the grade of where that sadhaka is, what even Anna was mentioning in terms of that approach. But there is no contradiction. There's just one continuum in terms of process, where first we perceive it on the inside, we regulate things and make things streamlined on the inside. And once we are able to do that, then what we see on the outside is nothing but the reflection of the inside, because the mind has become completely clean. It mirrors the Atman, and it's a spotless play of the Lord. That's what we will end up seeing. Yes, Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sai Satish.
Sai Ram, can I add something?
Yes, yes.
See, one of the points of code of conduct is reading regularly Sai literature, and we are all in this process. And sometimes I personally am very happy. I'm in the study circle, so I'm able to join. And then when I read this Geetha Vahini, then it's coming back. It's saying, "Are you doing this? Are you doing this?" Even though we say controlling our senses, I know we are all practicing, but Swami wants us to keep assuring us and pressing us, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. So this is what my view is. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Uncle. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts?
So, Sai Ram, brother. So I like to bring the world with us. So normally when we before getting married or doing dating time, so the girl or boy, they know only the name and the form. Their concentration with the person. Even mother asks, "Please come and eat." The girl will say, "No, I am not hungry." At least drink water. She can concentrate one pointness that time. Later, after signing the paperwork, and there is a difference because of the desire come and destroy everything. Because one desire enough is going to be a fire, it burn everything. So same way, so that means dhyana means just focusing. Mantra or anything, same word repeating, that will become mantras. So as a nature, the indriyas you don't need to train, because when the baby born, it knows how to drink the milk. So the main thing, we have to control the mind. How we control when we getting before married or one person, they're focusing in one thing. Same way, you have to do the same attitude towards the board. When we are doing that one, we will end up with the mind. If that goes to the heart, their life can go up to the end of the lifetime. But here, the ones who have the same connection with the Lord, the love will increase. The love is going to expand. Then all the bad desires and everything going to be destroyed. And with the grace of the God, that indriyas will be mind is not, if the mind is not taking any interest, the indriya cannot do nothing. Because if the mind only thing, mind is like a brain for the indriyas. So if mind is not cooperating, the indriya cannot do anything. So we have to train our mind. How we train for the just for the athletic, they have to work hard. Same way, we have to work hard, train to the mind to say the Namaswaranam, to think about the Lord. When the last breath comes, even the breath is a Lord. We studied. So that time you will get liberated, because the name will come from the heart. So this is my understanding, brother. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much.
Sai Ram, this is Bhagawan. Sorry to disturb. Here, most of us, we think Baba will come and liberate our soul. Baba will come and liberate. But we should know we also have a part to play in the liberation of our own Atma. That is why the body has been given to us. We forget that. We think Baba will come and liberate us if we pray to him. There's more to it. We have to constantly, steadily do 21 times Omkar daily, meditate daily, control your senses so that the mind will be under control. All these things, and the buddhi has to be enlightened. There are a lot of work to be done for the to get the Atma purified and merge with God. So it is not just doing nothing. We can ask Baba to liberate our souls. Thank you, Saira.
Saira Mati, thank you.
Sai Ram.
Yes, sister.
You know, Bhagawan is very smart. See, if we read, yeah, because what Sister Kalyani has posted, he's saying, do not allow the mere sound, the mere taste, etc., to captivate your senses. And he know our senses will do that. So to me, how I am reading, he's saying, do not allow your senses, though you can see or hear or taste everything divine, but make sure that you are not captivated by your senses. So the first thing what I'm saying is, as Brother Sai Satish said, you know what, you need to control your senses. Then only we can see. Once we did with our lots of sadhana, when we reach to that level, then only you start seeing everything divine. Then you don't need to, but make sure whatever you see, but they are not basically through your senses, you're seeing as divine. So the first thing is to control your senses, because I think in first few chapters here, Bhagawan has very clearly said, not even your mind, you don't control your mind, you control your senses, then mind, and then you start seeing. He didn't say start seeing divine in everything, but he has laid down very clearly, control your senses and then mind. And I think I asked the question, can't we take a shortcut to control mind? And the answer in the study circle was no, you have to control your senses, which will control your mind, because mind is, and in Swami, in many discourses he has said, if you control your mind, then because mind can either put you towards bondage or liberate you. So it's up to you where you want to take your mind. So eventually we have to control mind, and then we start seeing everything divine, whatever through senses, because there is no senses. But I'm seeing Bhagawan is, he knows what we are thinking.
Okay, sister. Anyone else? So, sister, are you alluding that it is more difficult to do what Swami is telling there? I think Sister Shivani.
Sorry, you're saying to me, brother?
Yes, are you saying that what is accepted when Sathya Sai speaks is more difficult?
No, it's not. I'm just saying that the way he has laid down what Sister Kalyani has posted, it's not it was difficult, but the path is very straightforward. He has said, control your senses and then mind, and then only you will start seeing things. I'm interpreting everything is divine through your senses, but you have control your senses. I don't know. Does it make sense?
Sairam, brothers and sisters, I have a practical question here. Most of us, we try too hard to enter into the doorstep. We try every day to close we try very hard to go towards the door every day. And we are in the doorstep, and there is no guard to stop in there. And but still we are unable to cross the doorstep and get inside, even though there is no guard, nothing, and the reception hall, they free and everybody can enter and everything. But still, some people, they can easily enter. Some people are unable to enter even though they get into the doorstep. I was wondering myself, those people, they were closer to the door, still they are trying their senses to control and everything. Some of us, even though if we want to cross the door and get into the darbar, and maybe because of the heat, the inside, because of the heat inside, maybe from the far we can look at the fire, it's like a fireworks or the campfire. We can look at from the distance. Maybe some of us, we are unable to go closer because of the heat and everything. And Swami is telling that constant practice, it will reach us to the destination. And I am wondering whether I recently learned that the memory is two types. One is maybe mind memory, and the other one is the muscle memory. Maybe the constant practice, even though if we sleep or any day, even if we are unconscious, our muscles know that the chanting or and whatever we learn, it would go into the muscles. Even someone tap us and okay, chant right now in the sleep, we will be readily available to chant and those things. So maybe we are not get to that muscle memory stage yet, or maybe the something, maybe we are not yet ready to go near to the heat or the inside the darbar, or what is the problem with most of us? I know the senses control and everything, something is beyond our control. But even though if we are trying, and Swami says, no, it's available for all of us, and the door is open, you can freely come. If the door is coming, everybody, they would try to get into. Somehow, we are unable to go near because of our karmic patches. It doesn't allow us to go near to the destination because the heat is coming from that the center point, and doesn't allow us to go to near. Or what is that? What kind of rationale is for that practically? Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, sister. I think you have asked a tough question. Because, even to practice, you are saying that we need help. And if people are not practicing or not, maybe it is because of karmic consequences of vasanas. So what to do? How can we overcome that? Is that the question, sister? How can we overcome, or
how to overcome that one? Sometimes we know that it would take the births and births to neutralize those karmic patches, and what we will be doing in that circumstances, even though door is open and everything, maybe they are telling us, okay, come enter, you can freely come, please come on, come in, and we are unable to reach there. And something is maybe blocking us to get in there, even though if we are eagerly, put our steps forward, but we are unable to, our legs doesn't go, even with knowing or without knowing. Our, the leg is stumbling and stands standing there, maybe that's the Arjuna's question, what God should be doing, or what we will be doing. The Sakwandi explained that God cannot do much to us, and we are the one, we should be practicing, or we should be trying our heart. Even though we are trying our heart, sometimes we are unable to do, and maybe some sort of help needed. to those people. They are eagerly waiting at the doorstep. Maybe someone come and they pulling us inside. That sort of request.
I think, sister, I think Swami says no one is pulled or invited, so, but it is kept open for anyone who wants to enter. So I don't think any force is there for people to enter. But then you say that also can be a problem, because if no one invites, people may not come. I think that's but Swami says no one is invited. It is just kept available. So I will stop here, sister. I will open it up for discussion from others who may have something to say. Saira.
Uncle, when you had translated that line, I had written down, but they do not invite people who say they don't want to come.
Yes, Ranu. If they say I don't want to come, they are not. Yes.
Okay, but he might invite people who want to come.
I guess so. You can say, because people come to know, and then they will say I won't come. And such people are not forced. Yeah.
Sairam. I think our behavior brings the people. If your Swami is a devotee, and whatever you do, like a seva or service or everything, anything what Swami had it, and if you practice that and show, our like always Swami says, my life, your life is my message. And we have to follow what Swami is teaching and be kind and loving and selfless service. And people see us, and then they will decide if they wanted to come or not. And also another thing is sealing on desires. That's what Swami wants. Control everything. If you're buying so many saris, stop buying too many saris. Buy one. And if you're if you are attracted to eating too much, and cut down your eating. And similarly, everything we have to cut down our desires. I think that's what I felt like saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Yes, go with us. Yes. First, let's go with us and Satish.
Sure, Anna. Sure, Anna.
Yes, go ahead.
Sairam, brother. First of all, everything's clearly mentioned in the Vedas and the Puranas, everything. We know what is the main goal is. The merge with the Paramatma. That everyone knows. So you have to do the practice. Then if we now that when we get older, then once we get the gray hair, we are going to the last moment. And when you started to get, then after that, all the joints, you're going to get pain. That's the second. Third one, you are reaching closer to the death. That time, your five senses is going to give up you, because there's no energy. It is not going to ask you anything. But you spend all the time satisfying the five senses. But that is not going to lead you anywhere. You would have spent the time controlling the mind. So you miss that one. And we don't know what is going to be in our next life. You may be having a good life now, because all this time you satisfied the senses and you spend all your good quality time. Even Bhagawan told, I came over there from all the way from there to take you some few people, but people are not ready. People are asking worldly things. So people are not asking to merge with me. Even the Mahabharata, even Pandavas too, they regret in the last minute, because they were asking to how to win the war. They didn't ask to merge with the Lord. So they also fail in the last moment, and they regret it. So we know that's what we are reading Bhagavatam and reading study circle, Geetha. Then if we don't have the faith, then you cannot blame the Lord. It's open for everyone. Thank you, Brother Sairam.
Sairam, brother, thank you. Just Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Saramana. So in terms of what Sister Anandi was raising as questions, and with what Swami has mentioned, it there is this concept, or what we know as self-effort. So, because there is a saying in Sanskrit also, it says it is only by effort is anything gained in life, and nothing will land up in the mouth of a sleeping lion. That's how the saying in Sanskrit goes. But what it means is, in terms of bend the body, mend the senses, end the mind. So we know that there is the subtle within us, but that reaching of the subtle is through the gross, because we, at least if I am not able to control my senses or my mind, I know I can go to the puja room and at least sit in front of Swami's shrine. After that, what happens again, it is sense control, then leading up to mind control. But at least, can I use the gross, which is my body, to a level of connecting? Because how much ever time I am spending with something, that shows that my interest in that thing, that shows my love for that thing, which could be anything worldly to anything godly. So how much effort am I putting into sitting in front of Swami's shrine, or whatever we feel our way of connecting to Bhagawan? Because first step is bend the body. It can be at the level of walking up to the shrine or walking up to some seva activity that we want to do. However, but something that is able to start at the level of the body, then automatically, once that we are able to get onto that, then it leads to, from the bend the body to mend the senses, and then after we are able to get to the level of mending the senses and channelizing a bit, then slowly we are tending to that thing of ending the mind and seeing the reality. And what you are mentioning about the memory as such and the muscle memory, I think it is going down to knowledge and wisdom, because at the level of the mind, it is knowledge. But when it becomes muscle memory, it has become part of every cell, every atom of our body, such that when any situation happens on the outside, we are so well aligned on the inside that we are able to respond. The muscle memory that happens, the response that comes out, is absolutely in sync with what Swami says, like unity of thought, word, and deed. But why is it that somebody is able to do it and somebody is not able to do it? Again, it comes down to that self-effort, which maybe at this point in time we are seeing it for this birth. How come this person is able to do it so very easily? Because I am at this point in time able to see that person for the last few weeks or last few months or last few years. But we all know that there has been a past, not in this life alone, but in the previous life. And looking at that kind of a preparation that has happened for those kind of people, they have ripened to such a level that now it comes automatically. But nevertheless, they also had to put in the same effort. They also had to put the same A for apple, which now is leading to A for Atma kind of a scenario. So that start of putting that effort, there is no taking away from that thing. So that if we keep putting that effort, then we go from the stage of bending the body, mending the senses, and when it really gets to ending the mind, we are able to do that as what you're saying is like the muscle memory kind of a thing. But all of it, I think, comes down from, there is, I think Sister Shivani also mentioned that we discussed earlier, there is no shortcut in spirituality. So everybody has to do that bit of traversing that whole path so that it becomes our second nature. Sairam.
Thank you so much, brother. That cleared some of my thoughts. So my concept on this one, thank you so much, brother Satish. It makes much more sense to me right now. Thank you.
Yeah, just talking about muscle memory, Satish. Whenever if you go for bhajans, we are all singing, following the songs, but our mind is always wandering. Our mind is not even telling the mouth to sing. mouth just sings whatever it hears, because I think it's trained. But the thing is, the problem is what we have not trained the mind to focus. I think that's sometimes so apparent. So the muscle
Yes,
memory is also something like that also.
yes, yeah, very true. I think like while you're saying, like, yeah, singing that bhajan, am I, every time I sing every word and every line of that bhajan, am I with that thing and enjoying every bit? Yeah, because or else it becomes mechanical thing. We sit there and yeah, by the time you realize bhajan is over, and then I'm busy talking to other people. Like, that is the kind of thing. Yeah.
Eyes also wandering, ears also wandering. These things
Exactly.
happen to us. Santi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. One is at the threshold of entering, merging with the Lord. We are not, Anandi's question, why, what is it blocking us? What is it that is preventing us from getting in and then merge with the Lord? That question, I feel Purusha Prayatna, as Satish said, Sai Satish said, Purusha Prayatnam, from effort from on our part, as well as the grace of the Lord, that should come together. Only then that fruition takes place. I feel even after reaching that threshold, our minds are not completely purified. We still need something else to wipe off all the pollution in our minds and then fill it with sattvic feeling. That is more important. Sattvic feeling, more of that good you have to encourage, and Swami's grace will definitely follow us. He will take care of us. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. See, it is this type of questions is very academic question also. Many of us have. We have found Swami, others have not found Swami. So what is their lot? I think that also we have similar questions. But I think Arjuna is asking with slightly different bent of mind, I guess. He's saying, is there any discrimination? And for that, Lord is saying no. But I think one of the answers would be, Krishna, I think, was not, he says, you do what I have told you. And if you do, maybe others will learn. I think that sometimes we forget. We have to attain the state. But sometimes we are willing to help others before we ourselves progress. I think that's sometimes an issue. So I'll stop.
Mani Aunty brought an excellent point that we most of the discussion, it was around our effort, but Mani Aunty nicely brought that God's grace also should be there. Then only we would easily reach the destination, kind of. That's a very nice, excellent point, Mani Aunty.
Thank you, Anandi.
I really liked on the end, you had mentioned the example of the fire, how like sometimes we're afraid of the heat, so that's maybe why we're not going closer. So like as we go closer to the Lord, I think like different parts of us who we identify as or who we think of ourselves as, like they kind of have to die, or we have to let go. So I think that part is probably scary. And I think like again about the question about why don't we progress, I feel like I think Uncle, you were we had gone through a verse in the Bhagavad Gita class, like Shruti Vipratipannate Yatastasyati Nischala. Like I feel like that doubt in that, yes, we have to doubt the world and then just have faith that God is all that we need. But I think whenever I feel like I'm not progressing or I keep making the same mistakes, it's like oh, I keep having to test, like, oh, is this like I have to kind of go through it a certain number of times to really establish that, yes, the doubt that, this is not going to give me that permanent joy that I'm seeking. But then you kind of forget, and then you have to do it again and make the mistake again. And until that doubt is like really firmly established that, no, I don't need this. Like, and yeah, until I get to that point, like I keep making those same mistakes.
Okay. Is everyone okay? Then so we can. Auntie, did we read the Telugu?
Yes, Arun, I
Yeah,
read that.
okay, so then fine.
The whole complete, the chapter is over.
Okay, I think so. We are in a new chapter actually.
New chapter, but this one was the last paragraph. I laid it out.
Oh, like one thing I didn't understand in this paragraph is, so Swami saying it's not everyone that can repeat the pranava at the last moment.
Yeah.
And then the next one is, that is the reason why constant remembrance of the Lord is said to have the power. So I'm not sure why Swami saying that is the reason why. Because I don't know, I don't see the relationship between that sentence and then the next one.
So I think what Swami is trying to tell us, you may not be able to pronounce that word Om, maybe not. But the constant remembrance of the Lord in your mind, it will help you to remember the Lord at that moment. And then definitely Lord will bear our Yogakshema.
Oh, but okay. But I mean, that's equally as difficult, I
Yeah,
guess,
it's
to have
no,
constant remembrance.
not necessarily that Om. What do you say, Kalyani?
But like to have constant remembrance of the Lord is kind of equally difficult, I think, right? Like that.
Equally difficult, you say, yes, of course. But it's a abhyasa yogena. Everything again, Swami said, this has to be practiced long. In the last sentence also he is saying, it's not in one birth that we are going to get this. Several births, several janma we have to take up to reach that state rather.
What happened is like how many people going to the bhajan and we are only singing bhajan and whatever. Then how many people attend the study circle? If we don't attend the study circle, we didn't know these things. See, that's the blessing we have it, like because maybe the previous births, whatever we going through, and we bring near the show us the path. Now we have to steadily practice that one, and we have the chance to merge with the God. So I feel that we are nearby because I'm really happy to attend the study circles because the knowledge we gained, otherwise we wouldn't have a chance to gain this knowledge. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram, it reminds me of a story. I think all of us know that there was a guy who named all his kids after Lord's name, Rama, Krishna, or so that he will remember Lord all the time. Whenever he's calling, he will remember. But when he was on his deathbed, he called all his sons, but talking about the business. So, it's what intensity and intention you are remembering and, repeating his name makes a lot. Then only you can remember his name until the last moment. Sorry.
Sai Ram, sister.
Uncle, you had mentioned about like bhajans and how we can be so distracted in bhajans. So like if you find that, for example, like coming to study circle or like doing bhajan at your own home or like doing something more in solitude, like you're able to connect to the Lord better, then like is it like can you just prioritize that over going to bhajans? But because I know you have also previously said how going to bhajans is very important. Of course, Swami has encouraged bhajans and they have bhajans twice a day and everything and Puttaparthi.
Yeah. See, the thing is, Swami says if you have not practiced it, see the unfortunate thing when we go to bhajan is the senses play the trick. They are the ones who distract you. So that means it's a proof that our senses are not curbed. I think that's what I can say. So I think at least to learn that, because otherwise we may feel, we are progressing. Because when we don't have the senses distracting, we may have a false sense of achievement that, we have progressed. But, day in and day out, we will be reminded by Swami, hey, you are not thinking of me. Why did you come? That's our lot. I think, we don't have to feel bad, but I think we should work on it. I think that's all. We have to, again, bring the mind back to what it should. So I think that's equally important because that is the way, we are going to understand whether we have mastered the senses. also, I think. But of course, there are other benefits of attending bhajan. Swami says community sadhana helps. But yeah.
Brother, in order for the last minute to think of Om or Pranava, that is the Lord name, that state of mind has to reach to that level by practicing. So that's how we have to look at it. Practicing, bhajan, all kind of things are tools, right, given to you. But with that tool, you have to reach to a level, the state of mind. That's the, I think, will take you there. Thank you, Sairam.
So, Sairam, brother, I like to add to the point, brother. Bhajan mean bhakti, japam, namam, svarnam. All three are included. Even when you enjoying the bhajan, the love is going to be going to develop with the Lord more and more. At the same time, you cannot express that love that's going to grow. When you study Vedas and everything, and you're going to know about the Lord more and more, then you think about Lord, and the faith is going to be increased. Then your mind is going to focus on the Lord. So Vedas is not going to take you to the merge with the Lord, but you are learning so much about the Lord, and you're going to chant, and you're going to enjoy that one. Then you're going to meditate on that one. That will lead you to merge with the Paramatma. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sairamana,
Yes.
just adding to like some of the points that were discussed for this pranava. So Swami has given, like, he has covered every topic. So for the exam thing, when for the students, Swami had to give tips which we can also apply to the exam of life. Swami has very clearly told, like, their instructions when he would say, what do you do in the examination? And then it was like, Swami, we are writing in the answer script. What do you do while you're preparing? We are reading. So Swami would say, see, there you're reading and here you're writing, and that is where there is a discrepancy. And so when you're preparing for your exam, you should also write and practice, so that when you write your final exam, you're doing the same thing what you did in your practice, and that is how you can score high marks or O grade or whatever the high level of performances in an exam. So if we are to apply it to the exam of life, during the last minute, first of all, we do not know when the last minute is going to come, how it is going to come, where it is going to come. Nothing is known about the last minute. But we know definitely last minute will come sometime. So, and that time, if you chant pranava, then only it's your past, or else again back to square one. So in that regard, if that has to happen in terms of the same thing, if you have to chant the pranava in the last moment, if you have to do the same writing in that exam in that exam, then during life when we go through different phases, we have to keep, no doubt it starts with being difficult, but then at one point in time when we started as a child, even sitting or walking was difficult, but we mastered it, and no longer it appears so trifle in nature that so if we keep doing the same sadhana again and again and again every day, during the midst and din of whatever is happening, we are still, even if it starts with remembering once a day and keep at it, so that it becomes 10 times and then 100 times and then 1,000 times, and then it keeps going, then whenever the last moment comes, it doesn't matter, because that practice has been so intense that the last moment also we are able to do it with the same intensity, which changes the equation. But ultimately it comes down, like both the things what Auntie also had mentioned, self-effort has to be there and God's grace also has to be there. So that self-effort of continuously constant remembrance, what is the smara nityam anityatam, which is the higher thing, that is the permanent, which is the absolute, which is impermanent, that kind of a thing, more of practice, and then even as we get to it, definitely God's grace will grow, will flow, and then help us pass that exam and then chant that Om at the final.
Thank you very much, Sai Sathesh.
Shivam speaking.
Yes, Auntie, please go ahead.
I don't know, I can't read anything is on the screen, but
Yes.
was it read? Did you read that paragraph?
Okay, Kalyani, you can read the paragraph?
Oh, yes, Auntie, we had read it, but I can read it again. All who yearn for the presence, all who desire to enter the darbar of the Lord, and who strive in their mind constantly for the fruition of that desire, all have admission and accommodation there. It is not everyone that can repeat the pranava at the last moment. That is the reason why constant remembrance of the Lord is said to have the power of inducing the Lord to bear the burden of your yoga kshema, happiness here and hereafter. Of course, this too has to be practiced long. Sadhana gains everything. Sadhana steady and strong.
Oh, thank you. So we are speaking about the sadhana.
So I think in another place, I think it may be in the Geetha Vahini also. I
But-
think maybe there. Yes, Auntie, please go ahead.
But I am just wondering, just repeating it all the time, when the mind is focused somewhere else, and I think that intensity of the sadhana is going to be less than when the mind is focused on the sadhana. So what I see is that the mind focus is more important than just the lip saying the words. This is what I am thinking, Sairam.
Thank you very much, Auntie. See, actually, in one place where Swami is telling this yoga kshemam relates to the sadhana itself. Many people think, Swami will, God will look after our normal worldly issues, But in one place, Swami is saying that is not what Krishna is assuring. He is assuring that he will look after their yoga kshema of their sadhana. So the answer is like Draupadi, and the Pandavas, they always thought of Krishna. But their lot was not very comfortable. But through all that, the Lord made sure that the sadhana remained steady. So he looks after the yoga kshema of the sadhana. Also, I think earlier in the Geetha Vahini Swami have mentioned, I had to go back and check.
And so if you're already remembering the Lord constantly, like what further yoga kshema of sadhana, isn't that the ultimate thing? Like if you can already remember the Lord constantly, like why does Swami have to?
I think when the mind is wandering, Kalyani, I think it is the Lord who reminds you. Make sure that you don't forget.
Brother,
Sorry, in the discourse, I was referring to, I think it's the 5th discourse in Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 1. Swami says, when the mind wanders off, just as soon as you find that it is wandering, just bring it back to the form. That's what he says.
Yeah,
So,
that is important.
Sairam, no?
Yes.
This is a drama which took place in Prashanti. The one child had only one small part. He was playing a thirsty dog's part. That child, the whole day, he didn't drink even a drop of water. And he was able to act very well. And Baba, instead of giving any other characters to this child, he manifested a chain and gave. And he said he wanted to please me. That was the only feeling he had. So he didn't have a drop of water. That kind of a devotion only I require from my devotees, he said. So this is one of the example. We don't have to do so much, but whatever we do, if we can have that intensity of devotion, I think you can earn the grace of God. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, Auntie.
So, Uncle, just to clarify, so when that shloka says ananya chintayantoma, that means that like you're trying to have ananya chinta. So it's not that you're already there, but then Swami will ensure that your sadhana is.
Yes, that's what.
Next chapter is Swami is going to say that.
Okay.
He is going to say that.
Sorry, I hope I didn't give it away. I think Sister Aruna wanted to say something.
Okay.
Sairam, brother, you have given some explanation in that sentence, but I'm still trying to understand a little more. What is in this sentence is really means? Lord is said to have the power of inducing the Lord to bear the burden of Yogakshema. That sentence, can you clearly say what is really meant by that, please? Thank you, Sairam. The Lord said the power of inducing the Lord to bear.
Remember.
Yeah. Go ahead, Auntie.
No, you please go ahead.
No, go ahead. I will.
Remembrance of the Lord at the time of death. It is said to have the power of inducing the Lord himself, Karunamayi. He comes down. He will say that, okay, I'll take the burden of your Yogakshema because you are remembering me at the time of departure. Sairam.
Sister, there are many devotees who pray to the Lord. Oh Lord, I am practicing now your sadhana, but when I'm about to die, I don't know whether my senses will work or mind will cooperate. I may not recognize anything. At such a point, what happens?
True, very true.
Okay. So such things the Lord will take care.
That is the reason he's saying you have to have a practice.
Yes.
In Tamil we say that, you know.
Okay.
In Tamil we say, Appodiki ippove choli vechen. Ippodi choli. Appodiki ippode choli vechen. So now itself I am telling for that last moment.
Great, Auntie. Thank you so much.
That's correct.
Anna, like to what you're saying, I think it comes to yogasya kshevam, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yogasya. The kshema of the yoga. Yoga is the merger with the Lord.
Yeah.
But generally, Yogakshema is that, you know, apraptasya praptam, then, you know, I'll take care of that, whatever you have gained. Yoga is to, whatever we wish we have gained it. But at the same time, taking care of that, whatever you have gained is also my duty. I will give you whatever you want, but I'll take care of that also to maintain it.
Because he secures our own achievement, our sadhana achievement.
Sadhana achievement.
Yes, Brother Dasan.
Yes, Sairam, brother. When you go for the exam, some people normally get a question paper before the exam. The person who got the question paper, he will go with the faith. He can pass. So the people who attend in the study circle, they got the question paper already. They know what to practice. They already know the questions. Up to them how to practice. That also answers are given now. So we are fortunate to participate in the study circle. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother. Examination leak is a problem, brother.
I was about to say that.
Same thing, Anna, you're leaking the question paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay now.
Okay, so any other thought from anyone? Should we start the next chapter?
Yeah.
Yes, sister, go ahead.
No, I was just looking at the practical part, you know, how practice, though we know less talking, less gossiping. We do with lots of sadhana, with lots of love for Bhagawan. Slowly, we kind of reduce that part of it. And then you reach to the level where you want to be part of that gossip because but you know this is wrong and you hold back. So I guess with lots and lots of practice, intensity, we have to, and kind of tying back with those senses. Senses want to hear something bad about other people. What senses want to talk about. So slowly, just say, okay, this time I'm going to do this less. And eventually you reach to the point where Bhagawan becomes your consciousness. No, this is wrong. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to, I may miss some information, part of that group, but you know what? You reach to the point where Bhagawan is at your forefront, then that everything is kind of fades away. Just putting out there as a practical.
Thank you, sister.
Is Bhagavan saying about practice?
No, auntie, that is how I interpret it for myself, because I used to gossip.
Oh,
I'm just kidding,
but,
auntie.
But what
this
about
is how I am thinking that anything we can control, like our senses. So taking Swami's reading and thinking how I can put into practice.
But how would you control the senses when we are in the outside the divine perimeter? We are in the body and we have got the senses. But you mean to say limit the senses? Limiting it to a certain extent without giving all the way to the senses.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And just continuing to what Sister Shivani was saying, I think it's more like you take that rock and you keep chiseling away what's not needed, and then what is left here is a beautiful sculpture of the Lord. So I think it is just about removing what is not needed. So all that not needed goes away, and what is left is what is absolutely needed. So that kind of a framework where we drop everything else that is not needed to get to that. Just felt that analogy.
But we have 5 minutes more. We have 5 minutes more. Should we start the chapter, Arun?
Yes.
You can read, auntie, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she can read.
Yeah.
Chapter 17. Whoever is busy with no other thoughts than those about me, whoever is remembering me, he certainly will release his dying breath through the center of the head. He will attain me. I am as near him as he is near me. My dear Arjuna, how can I forget him who never forgets me? Forgetting is a human frailty, not the characteristic of God. Let me tell you, there is no need for yoga or tapas or even jnana. Whether you give these up since you are too weak, or whether in spite of having the strength, you do not feel like struggling to master these, it does not matter. I do not ask for yoga or tapas. I only ask that your mind be fixed on me. Devote your mind to me. Dedicate it to me. That is all I ask for. If a sadhaka cannot do at least this act of dedication to the Lord, I wonder what his sadhana is capable of. If you plead that you have not the strength of mind, I ask where the strength comes from to dedicate yourself as you do now to hollow ideals, to vain fantasies of family, fortune, and fame. Can you not direct the strength for that supreme dedication? Man easily offers his all to poisonous objective pleasures, but squirms and protests as if a mountain is tumbling on him when the call is made to dedicate his thoughts, feelings, and acts to the Almighty. Salvation in his eyes is as cheap and as easy to attain as greens in the vegetable market. He seeks to escape from bondage as easily as that. He does not yearn much, but he desires to earn much in the spiritual field. He is sunk more in tamas than in tapas, but he wishes for the fruits that tapas alone can offer.
Thank you, Kalyan.
Mhm.
I think Krishna is a very strong message.
Yeah, we have to go through it very slowly.
Yeah. It's, the whole thing is full of intense matter. So we have to go through sentence by sentence in order to analyze and then to make it our own.
Yes, Auntie.
If I may say, it reminds me of one of those in the Stotram. Om Sri Sathya Sai Sulbha Prasannaya Namah. It's so easy to please him. We don't need to do all of those things. So it's so easy to please our beloved Lord. Sainam.
But like you said earlier, Sister Shivani, I wonder if it's a trick, because Swami is saying here, like, I do not ask, you don't have to struggle. I do not ask for yoga or tapas, but the very last sentence, he's saying he wishes for the fruits that only tapas can offer.
Yeah, mind focus. I take from here. Now, whatever we do, if our mind is not highly focused on Bhagavan, then it is of no benefit. It's a mind focus, but to control the mind, in my opinion and my experience, is not easy. To 100% to focus on Bhagavan.
No, Auntie,
Thank you,
don't say
Saira.
that.
So you mean to say that we can control the mind?
Absolutely, I'm positive. I'm going to liberate in this birth, Auntie. That's my focus.
No, that is your desire.
I have a goal. I have a goal. Before I leave, I'm
I
going to
agree with
liberate.
You have
I agree with Sister Shivani. That's our goal.
I am
We
very
have to
positive,
liberate
Auntie.
ourselves
Yes.
at this birth.
That's
you
the
are
reason I'm in
desiring.
this study circle, Auntie. I'm investing my time in the study circle.
You are investing because that is
Yes.
your desire and your goal. But to what extent you will approach is Bhagavan has to decide.
Sulbha Prasannaye Namaha.
You're taking refuge. You're taking refuge in Sulbha Prasannaya Namaha. That's correct.
No,
If you keep on chanting, sister, then he will be pleased.
Brother, that's a nice sentence at the end too. The tapas can alone, the fruits that tapas can alone can offer. What it is, why that tapas, everything we have to understand. This is a really good chapter to start.
He is sunk more in tamas than in tapas.
Yes,
But
that's what I really want to
so it is mixed up with tamas, not tapas only. It's mixed up with tamas.
When a person is expecting a fruit out of tapas, it's a question again. So what is that?
I think we'll
discuss it next week, sister.
Yes.
What is tapas? We all have a bit wrong understanding of what is tapas.
Yeah,
it's like going to the forest, standing upside down, or standing with one foot in the river, neck deep in the river. These are ideas we have. But I think we will discuss it next week. It's 4:31. Yes, Auntie?
And I need to know the meaning of both words.
What is it?
Tapas and tamas.
Tapas, yes.
Like next week, I think.
Next week you will discuss. I think otherwise everyone can do some research.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find out what is tapas.
Yeah.
So next week also same time, Sunday.
Yes, 3 o'clock, Auntie. You logged in early at 2 o'clock. But hereafter it's only at 3 o'clock, Auntie.
Okay, 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Sairam.
Okay, we will close with Samasta Loka. Sairam. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti. Jai Sairam.
Jai Sairam.
Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam.
Thank you. Thank you.